serenity, and prosperity be multiplied unto you all. But I know Yahweh Ba, Shema Mashek Yahweh Shema Yeshua Yahweh Allah, Hayanawah, Kadaba Mashbaka. I'm going to make this a quick meditation, right? A quick meditation. I don't plan on being on here too long. But our meditation this Shabbat will be in Psalms 119, verses 92 through 94. Psalm 119, verses 92 through 94. And I'm going to be roughly paraphrasing those three verses of Psalms 119. However, Kadash has put it on me to really focus on these three verses. Now, if you've been paying attention to what's going on, we got some harsh times ahead. You know, whether it's manufactured or, you know, there's a downfall on the horizon. Either way, it is all through the work of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Nonetheless, and regardless of the fact, we give all praises to the Most High for working his work and establishing his business. So I mentioned this in the last live stream that some of you all were fortunate to catch. Mentioned how the Trump administration is cutting SNAP benefits and for EBT cards and food stamps. And you have many people in the uproar, specifically 2/3 Israelites, jumping on the cameras, getting on social media, talking about how much they're going to steal and this, that, and the third. They're going to be stealing because they haven't been getting their funds for that they've been used to getting through the government. How much the taxpayer is responsible for them and their family eating, and all type of pathetic nonsense. Right. Look at it from the grand scheme of things, right? If you 2/3 go and do that, you will be destroyed. I'm putting it out there right now. All you 2/3 Negroes that think you're just gonna start looting stuff and stealing from these stores, you're gonna fall right into the oppressor's hands for them to destroy you. You will not succeed in such an attempt. That is fair warning. That is fair warning. Now, that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is, and I'm roughly paraphrasing this news, but some company was on the news earlier this week regarding AI taking their jobs. They woke up one morning and they got an email or they got a call saying that they didn't have to come into work today, that AI took over their position and they're going to be getting severance pay for like the next 3 or 4 weeks or so. I'm roughly paraphrasing. If you look it up, you'll find it. I didn't pay that much attention to the actual story, but yeah. So not only do you have that, you also have major layoffs happening. And not to mention the layoffs that are happening in the government. I personally know somebody who got laid off due to the government shutdown. It affected their job, a relative of mine. The stuff is real. All right, y'all, the stuff is real. Even if you're not seeing it for your own eyes, I'm confirming for you that it's real. All right, now you also got ICE running their raids out there in New York. You got ICE running their raids out there in New York. All right. And, those of you all who watch this channel that are up in New York, if you're listening, you can feel free to tell your story in the comments of what's going on over there. But yeah, the Trump administration released the ICE agents out there in New York, terrorizing the northern and southern kingdom. And you really don't hear too much about them going after any white immigrants. Because you have undocumented immigrants from Europe here in the States too, and you don't hear too much about them going after them and detaining them and deporting them. But we know what that's all about. However, I want to paraphrase Psalms 119, verse 92. And in Psalms 119, verse 92, it roughly paraphrased, it says that the Lord, the Most High, is my delight. And since it was my delight, I could have perished in my affliction. The law of Yahweh being my delight had kept me from perishing in my affliction. Roughly paraphrase Psalms 119, verse 92. And I'll have the actual precepts in the description of this video. So if you're listening to the video and you don't have time to get to your Bible while you're listening, the precepts will be right there. But anyway, with us meditating on the word of Yahweh and for us putting into action his delight, which is his commandments, and having the faith of Yahweh Shah, it has indeed kept us from perishing in affliction, because many people have been perishing in their affliction, mashpikah. Just here in Houston alone, I want to believe it was yesterday morning or the morning before yesterday, they found a corpse, okay? Not in any of the bayous this time, but underneath the Loop 610 bridge. All right, they found a corpse hanging and on fire. It's real out here, y'all. Stuff is not getting any better. So, you had the string of bodies that were found in the bayou. Now they found a body hanging underneath the bridge and set on fire. Why is all this happening, you may ask? It's because there's a lack of faith and a lack of obedience that leads to this perishing in affliction. And guess what? That same lack of faith and lack of obedience is going to lead to more perishing in their affliction coming up soon. Whoa. With all this talk about these SNAP benefits being turned off in the month of November, more and more people are going to be perishing in their affliction. You know why? You know why? Because they're disobedient. They're not trying to keep any of the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. They're not trying to follow the example and having faith in the Messiah, Yahweh Shah. They're not doing any of that. They're just living their life as they please by their own dogma, from the figment of their own understanding. And guess what? This is happening during the season of the witch. This is happening during the season of the witch, which is also known as sifting season. Asha Shabbat, Keith Rogers, welcome in. So yeah, these SNAP benefits are being cut off in the second month of the season of the witch. And we got the abominable holiday of Thanksgiving going on in that month too. So now you got a whole bunch of 2/3 talking about boycotting Christmas because of this move from the Trump administration. Well, a lot of people are about to perish, Mashpaka. They're going to be perishing in their affliction because they chose wickedness and rebellion over righteousness and order. Asha Shabbat, Josephine Israel, welcome. They chose rebelliousness and disobedience and wickedness over order, righteousness, and wisdom. So prepare yourselves to hear about a whole bunch of death and destruction coming up within the Gregorian calendar year of November. Prepare yourselves for it. Prepare yourselves for it because it's going to happen. All right? And they are talking all that nonsense about this huge astronomical object that's heading toward Earth too in that month as well. So they might pull off some more witchcraft and sorcery on a grand scale in relation to that, because they've been anticipating that since summertime. They've been talking about this huge object coming toward Earth. They say there's a mothership of the aliens and this, that, and the third. Yeah, whatever. But expect some sorcery to come off about that too. Yeah, so unless the law of the Most High had been that our delight, we would have perished in our affliction. Psalms 119, verse 92. And again, y'all, if y'all don't have y'all Bibles, I'm meditating on Psalms 119, verses 92 through 94. And those scriptures can be found in the description of this live stream. Now, the fact that we keep our meditation on these precepts, as it states in verse 93, we never forgot the precepts. They have quickened us. They have quickened me. I've never forgotten thy precepts. They have quickened me. Guess what? With us knowing these precepts, with us taking time to meditate on these precepts as we're doing today, we open ourselves up to receive the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to really discern the times that we're in. Put it this way, Mosh Bakal, we way ahead of the average society on what's going on. We're way ahead of everybody else in having consciousness of what's going on today. And those who are in the veil of darkness have no idea because they're in darkness. Their vision is darkened by their wickedness that they thrive in. And it's all for their destruction at the end of the day. And look here, I'm gonna be raw and blunt as possible saying this. A lot of these wicked fools need to go ahead and perish. Yeah, I said it. A lot of these wicked fools just need to go ahead and die. They need to go ahead and die, return to the Father, and then come back with some righteousness and order. That's what needs to happen, especially with these wicked ass 2/3. A lot of them just need to be cut off and die. And I say that as raw and as blunt as I can, righteously. Because it's going to happen anyway. It's already been prophesied. Yahweh said it himself. 2 parts of the man that his fellow shall die by the sword. He said that. And I'm roughly paraphrasing that too. I want to say that's in Zechariah, the book of Zechariah. It may be Zechariah or Zephaniah. I believe it's Zechariah, chapter 13. Forgive me if I misquoted that, but I know it's in the book of Zechariah. I just can't think of the book, chapter, and verse at this moment, but the paraphrase comes from Zechariah. But anyway, that's what needs to happen with a lot of these 2/3 because they're just so wicked. They're wicked beyond repair. They're wicked beyond repair. And the Most High is doing what he's doing. Everything you hear of is the works of the Most High at the end of the day. Whether it be good or whether it be evil. They're all of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. As Isaiah 45:7 states, he creates the darkness and he creates the light. He creates good and he creates evil. Yahweh does all these things. Isaiah 45:7. Now, since we have this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, Mashpakah, every time we read these scriptures, we take time to read these scriptures. We take time to meditate in these scriptures. You read, you listen to videos like this. You're being quickened by the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh. As it stated here in Psalms 119, verse 93, we're being quickened, meaning we're being supported. We're being held together right? We're being stabilized by these precepts. So what's happening to everybody else who isn't? Destruction, right? Destruction. They're falling apart. They're being destroyed. We see examples every time we cut on the news. They are being destroyed. That's what's happening. So verse 94, roughly paraphrased. We belong to Yahweh. We request for him to save us because we have sought after these precepts. We belong to Yahweh. We can tell him to save us because we seek after his precepts. So we have every right to say, hey, we have every right to make the declaration and to tell the whole world, hey, I'm good. I seek after Yahweh. I observe what he says to do, and I do it. I have faith in his son, the Messiah. I can be saved accordingly from all the BS that's happening. That's what that's stating there. That's exactly what that's stating there, Mashrakah. We have bragging rights in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. We have bragging rights. We can say, me and mine are going to be good. We taken care of. We have support because we're doing what we need to be doing and observing Yahweh's business. We can say that boldly and we can state that confidently. As Psalms 119, verse 94 has just been emphasized. We can be confident, we can be bold, and with power and strength, we can call on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has immense power alone just saying it. All praises to the Most High. Well, as I said, I wasn't going to be too long with this live stream. I really wanted to take about 15 minutes, but through the Spirit, it said otherwise. And we went to 23 minutes here. But nonetheless, I hope all y'all have a blessed Shabbat. May peace, serenity, and prosperity be multiplied unto you all. Shalom.